And so is that hashtag baked together, that's what people would look for on Twitter?
Yes. So on Twitter, it's a hashtag and it's a baked together thing, but you can also go on my website and I have a special tab that's just the baked together tab.
That's where the blog posts are.
The blog posts are on my homepage.
Okay.
So that's where you're going to get all of the blog posts.
Okay.
If you just want your baked together recipes, you can see it on the main blog or you can go to the special tab.
Okay.
And again, I post a recipe, each one of my recipes, every month at the beginning of the month, and I list the recipe. I also list different ways, my suggestions, you know, hey, you might want to try this, you might want to change the shape, you might want to change the flavor.
And do people experiment with them?
Oh, yeah.
And they come back to you and they tell you about it?
Yes, and then what people do, those that have blogs or a Facebook page, they will come back after they've monkeyed around and made the recipe their own. They come back to my site, and at the bottom of the post underneath the recipe, this is a technical term, and I think it is the accurate term. There's a linky thingy.
A linky thingy.
Which sounds like a made-up term, but I think it's actually the real term, that you click on, and you can, readers, bakers, anybody can include, they go through answer the questions, and they include a link to their versions on their site or on their Facebook page.
This is truly social. This is truly the essence. But what's great about it is that you can be in your kitchen on your own, and then you can join with other like-minded people. So it's not the isolation that we've been hearing about with the internet.
Exactly, and it's how the whole genesis of this thing. A bunch of us were on Twitter, I think it was last spring. You know, someone in France, someone in India, someone in Boston, someone out in California. We were all chatting via Twitter about how wouldn't it be really fun if we could all bake together, you know, so in the same kitchen.
Do you wish that you could meet these people? Is there an element missing because there's not this physical proximity?
Well, certainly. But when I have met these people, it's like I already knew them.
Yeah,
you know,
like
it's just, it's, yes,
like
exactly.
Old school friends or something. So, and you're putting these recipes online and they're free. Do people still need to buy your books? Is it an activity that helps sales?
Yes, I believe it does. And I think that in this world of, you know, everything's free on the internet, I try and embrace that. And not be afraid of it, because I think everyone with a book, and even if it's not a cookbook, but obviously my world is cookbooks, people want to hold on to that cookbook. Yeah. They also want to write in the margins.
Yeah, we're digital publishers, but we also read print, and we're going to be printing our books also, because I do think that we need to hold something also.
There's the tangible evidence, you know.
Especially if there's an element of experimentation. Probably people are marking up your books, they're putting Post-its in them.
And I want them to do that.
Yeah.
I want them to jot things down. And, you know, I know that even, you know, in novels that I have, I do the same thing. I like to dog-ear pages, underline, you know, certain pieces.
I think it's how we learn.
Yes.
You know, for kids who are growing up on iPads, they are not learning. The native digitals, they're not learning the same way that we learned. But even my kids who are 15 and 19 are book learners. They're visual learners. They need that. You know,
I saw someone on Twitter the other day who said that they said to their 5-year-old was looking through the Sunday New York Times, and the mom said on Twitter that she said to her daughter, "See, honey, this is called the printed page," which I thought was great. But it's something that, you know, it's good to remind kids that, you know, there is such thing as,
it'll be interesting to see how it changes. But and one other question you've got on your website, Baking the World Better. What's that? What's that about?
I like to say, you know, my goal is to help the world get better one recipe at a time. You know, I'm not a surgeon. I'm not an academic, but I love recipes, and I think it's the one thing that I can share with people, and hope that it puts a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah, and it's really fun. So now we're going to make our mint julep, which is William Faulkner's favorite cocktail, and Abby's going to show us how to do it.
Well, I love this recipe because, for starters, it has 4 ingredients, right?
Perfect.
It's just like desserts for today. This is drinks
for today.
Drinks with Tessa and Abby for today. So we're going to start out with some fresh mint. And, you know, it's just as easy. You just take some sprigs off, and you can do this in a pitcher, or you can just pop it right in the glasses. I figure we'll just do it right in the glasses. And you can include some of the stems. There's lots of really wonderful, you know, It doesn't smell so. It smells like summertime to me.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to want to like smash it up.
Okay, crush it in the glass.
Yep, and that's what it's doing there is it's releasing those minty oils. It's really going to make it really sing.
Okay.
And we're going to add some lovely, lovely bourbon.
Yes, and I know it's 1.5 ounces, but we're sloshing.
We're sloshing. You know what? And this is the fun thing with recipes like this, because you just want to, you know, have some fun with it.
Maybe we can make our own puddles.
Make your own culinary puddles. Liquid mud puddles.
Yes.
And a little bit of maple syrup, which is kind of a fun addition. And again, just a teens, because you just want to add a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of flavor dimension to it. Not so much that, you know, you feel like you're drinking maple syrup. And again, slosh it around.
I can just imagine William Faulkner drinking this. Yeah, okay, that's looking good.
And I'm going to add some ice cubes. Now you can use crushed ice if you want to. We're just going to use some regular ice cubes.
Okay.
William Faulkner
smells
probably.
strong. It smells delicious. Yeah.
He probably used crushed ice.
And he probably didn't use club soda.
No, he
Not
probably
much of the
drank
club
it
soda.
straight, just like this.
Okay.
And then a little bit of club soda.
Okay.
And again, you know, you can make these as strong or as weak as you'd like.
Yeah, depending on if you still have to get the kids from school.
There we go.
Okay. So we have a Nutella fudge brownie, and we have our mint julep. Oh, this looks so pretty.
And smells good too, doesn't it?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes.
Fun.
Chin chin. Oh, it's nice. I might have a little more syrup, I think. That would be to my taste.
Let's put a little more in.
Okay, so one thing I'm curious about, you have 125 recipes. How on earth did you come up with that many recipes that just have 4 ingredients?
Well, that's a great question. And I think, you know, much like other novel writers, fiction, nonfiction writers, you know, everybody has their own process. For me, when it comes to my cookbooks, whether or not it's Desserts for Today or one of my other books, I always start out with a concept, and then I make sure I have a kind of a storyboard of ingredients. So all the nuts, and it's on a big board in my office, in my tiny little office, and I have all of the flavors, and then I have textures.
So it's almost like a vision board.
Exactly. So you know, chewy, soft, crunchy, crumbly, and I make sure when I have a project like Desserts for Today, I knew that each recipe only had 4 ingredients, and I had 125 recipes to tell that story. So what I did was would just pick and choose. You know, okay, well, let's see. Have I done anything peanut butter? Okay, well, I'm going to take peanut butter and I want to make it crunchy. Let's add some nuts. Okay. So that, you know, I was combining big flavors with a few additional flavors, you know, a few ingredients. For instance, the Nutella, it's a good example. Nutella's the big flavor, so that was one from column 1. I wanted it soft and chewy. Okay, so we'll add an egg to help bind it. We need a little flour to make it happen.
So you actually a person could buy this book and you could go from the beginning right through to the end and still be, it sounds like it would be fresh and it would be entertaining and it would be a whole range of different experiences.
Exactly. And like with my other books and my recipes on my blog, in Desserts for Today, I include what I call switch-ins. So let's say, you know, the main recipe, one of the ingredients is a ripe pear. Let's say you don't care for pears, or they're not in season, or the ones you have on your kitchen counter aren't ripe. I give some alternatives so you can swap out. You know, use an apple, use a ripe peach.
So you can really personalize the recipes. Okay. So if you like to cook, if you'd like desserts, or if you'd like to try them, this is really I think this is a great way to start.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Abby, thank you very much for coming today. That's great.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks, Tessa.
Too.